welcome to Yankee Stadium. It is a beautiful night for October baseball. It's playoff baseball. American League Divisional Series. In this matchup for you, the Detroit Tigers, the wild card from the American League, taking on by the Taco Bell Big Bell Value Menu. Think outside the bun. And by Baby Ruth from Nestle. Savor the official candy bar of Major League Baseball. The city that never sleeps and the stadium that's never dark in October. It is an absolutely beautiful day. I don't want to scare the guys back in our studio in Los Angeles, but we may even get a shower tonight, so be ready back there. Here's the starting lineup for the Tigers. It's brought to you by Hyundai. And they lead it off with Curtis Granderson, then Placido Polanco batting the number 2 spot. Sean Casey hits third. Ordonez, Guillen, Ivan Rodriguez, Craig Monroe, Marcus Thames, a former Yankee, and Brandon Inge, who had a big year at third base for the Tigers with his 27 home runs, bats 9th. And before we have our first pitch, Budweiser. This is baseball. This is beer. Chien-Ming Wang. That's out of play for strike one, and here's the scouting report on this very talented right-hander.
How about that? It's rare already. A ball in the air against Wang. A toppling heavy sinker. He has the best sinker in baseball, and because of that, if he's right, you'll see a lot of ground balls tonight. And is he ever baseball's best bargain?
2 pitches, 2 fouls, 2 strikes. 96 miles per hour from Chien-Ming Wang and Curtis Granderson put together this year. 260, 19 home runs. He stole 8 bases. He struck out a ton. 174 times to lead the American League. Trying to jumpstart the attack. He takes the ball.
Talked about 96 miles an hour. That's what sets Wang apart from most sinker ballers. Most sinker ballers don't have that velocity that Wang has. Hitters can't adjust.
Just getting a piece to stay alive. It's Polanco to follow, and then Sean Casey. We said in the open, but I know that you don't pay total attention to everything we say when we're on camera, so we'll remind you that for the Tigers, they are the wild card winners in the American League, and they come in having lost their last 5 games, which cost them the division title. The fly ball into left field, and Matsui hauls in on number 1. Well, you know Hideki Matsui is in left. About the rest of the defense to his left. Johnny Damon in center and Bobby Abreu in right. Around the infield, it's Rodriguez, Jeter, Cano, and Sheffield is now the first baseman. Back from the wrist injury, and a guy who is learning as he goes. Catcher is Posada, and Wang is on the mound, and with 1 out, here's Polanco. Joe Torre is not worried about Gary Sheffield figuring out how to play first base. Shortstop, third baseman earlier in his career. And I thought what Joe Torre said was right on the money when he said Gary Sheffield is not afraid to make a mistake. He's not going to be timid over at first base.
It's a riskier move, however, with a guy like Wang on the mound because of the ground balls he's expected to play.
On the inside corner, a ball and a strike. Good matchup between these two managers. Two guys who have so much respect for each other and are regarded in baseball circles as real baseball men. 2 out. Tonight's keys to the game presented by MasterCard, as voiced over by one Timothy McCarver.
Well, if you're the Detroit mindset, if you're the Detroit Tigers, you think if you hit the ball on the ground, well, you're out. Ground ball outs first in baseball was Chien-Ming Wang. Double plays, he ranks second. As far as Nate Robertson is concerned, he must continue his success. We talked about the left-handers. He is the best in the American League against left-handed batters, and the Yankees have 5 in their lineup tonight.
And he is tough, and he is gritty, and he is a guy that Jim Leland is not worried about sending out into the middle of this diamond in the bottom of this inning. Pitch 1 is a strike to Sean Casey. I don't care how they finished. This was the most enjoyable story of the season in my mind across baseball, what Leland has done in his first year with the Tigers.
Team that won only 71 games last year, 95 this year.
Hey, 2 ground ball outs and a 1-2-3 first for Chien-Ming. Bottom of the first inning rolls in, no score. The Division Series on Fox is sponsored by the new Hyundai Azera. It may be the most car for the money ever. By Crestor. Talk to your doctor about prescription Crestor. And by MasterCard. You could wear out a MasterCard walking down that street. Take a look at the Yankee lineup. And it's brought to you by Hyundai. Damon leads it off. Derek Jeter bats second. Bobby Abreu hits third. Sheffield cleans up. That means that Giambi's batting 5th. And ladies and gentlemen, Alex Rodriguez is hitting 6th. The whole city can't believe it. Every writer called their editor. Can you believe this? Let me write 7 stories on it. Alex Rodriguez is batting 6th. And he's followed by Matsui, Posada, and Cano. Here's Nate Robertson, the left-hander, had his best year with his 13 wins, a good ERA. And he is coming off, you could say, a very strong outing here at the end of August against the Yankees.
Lost that game 2-0, but Jim Leland saying it was his best outing in a losing effort all year.
A 1-1 pitch. Damon out in front of it, rolls it over to Polanco. 1 down. About the scouting report on this left-hander, Robertson.
Well, he eats up left-handed batters. He just got Damon out, and the best Tigers pitcher the last month of the season, and that is saying something with those young arms that they have.
This is a Detroit team that, as they play with it going forward year to year, I think is just going to get better and better and better, mainly because they've got young, hard-throwing pitching that they can build around.
Yeah, you build your team around pitching. The hitting and the defense will come along. But if you have that pitching foundation, you're off to a row of winning seasons. Like perhaps not like this year.
Derek Jeter has been an October primetime player since he was a rookie in '96, and he's done a ton of that. He adds to his postseason record with his 143rd hit.
In his last 43 games, he's been on base via a hit, a walk, or a hit by a pitch 40 of those 43 games.
Pretty good number 2 hitter in front of Bobby Abreu and Sheffield, although Jeter could probably hit anywhere you put him in the lineup. And here's a guy who made a huge difference. His combined numbers between Philadelphia and the Yankees, 297. But Abreu in 58 games hit 330 after the Yankees picked him up. Basically just took on his salary along with Corey Lytle. Didn't have to give up much to get him, but they were willing to pay him this year and next. You know, it brings up the other point about the Yankees. And if you don't follow a baseball season day to day, you think, well, sure, the Yankees are here. They should be here. They have a $200 million payroll. Why wouldn't they? But there was a stretch in May and June where Joe Torre was running Melky Cabrera out to left field every day, and he played very well,
making the minimum.
But they had guys like Kevin Thompson, Andy Phillips, Cairo playing a lot, Bernie Williams playing more than they ever expected. Mike Mussina carried him through the first half of the year when Randy Johnson wasn't effective. Out at second, safe at first. But Tim, they persevered through that stretch, and now they've got all those injured players back, like Matsui and Sheffield, and now they're just absolutely loaded.
It's a loaded lineup, and a good pitch by Robertson, jamming Abreu. Ball not hit hard enough to get two, as Abreu, who's a fast runner, beats the throw to first. Normally, if a left-handed pitcher has a lot of success against left-handed hitters, he's a relatively hard thrower. You don't see guys who throw curveballs get left-handed hitters out if they're left-handed pitchers.
Fastball for a strike, 91 miles an hour to Gary Sheffield, who is a free agent to be. There's an option there that the Yankees could pick up. It is a heavy option, $13 million. He missed the majority of this year with a wrist injury. Here he is, making a push for either the Yankees to pick up that deal or impress somebody wading into the free agent market during the offseason.
Yeah, Gary Sheffield's going to play somewhere next year and be as successful as he has been with the clubs on which he has been. He is some hitter.
2 balls and a strike, and for a guy coming off a wrist injury, a break in there to continue to hit the way he hits, wiggling the bat around and almost daring a pitcher to come inside, using those great quick hands. He is remarkable. The 2-1. It's too far inside. 3-1. Just under 300 for his 19-year career. Came up with the Brewers when he was about 6 years old. Got under it. Will it stay in play? Inge can't get there.
Joe Torre surprised that Gary Sheffield is even playing, but Sheffield's saying that even in spring training, all he needs is about 10 games and he's ready. That's why his stroke came back very, very quickly.
Hit 2 home runs down the stretch after coming off the DL. 3-2 pitch, runner goes, and Sheffield hits it to center. Easy for Granderson. We go into the second after a scoreless first. And Maglio Ordonez coming up for the Tigers here at Yankee Stadium. The former and the current mayor, Rudy Giuliani and Michael Bloomberg, watching as we begin the second inning. There is no score, and Maglio Ordonez goes after one from Chien-Ming Wang and comes up empty. Strike 1. Last year suffered through a hernia. Shut him down for the majority of the year, and there's one into the gap in left center field. This ball is off the wall, and Ordonez will cruise towards second with a leadoff double.
That was a hanging slider from Wang, and I mean a tracer to left center field. Because Ordonez got on top of the ball, it didn't have a lot of hang time, couldn't get up. Hitting about 4 feet up the wall, fielded by Damon. But I mean, that was a rocket off the bat of Ordonez.
His stats here at Yankee Stadium are fantastic. 32 games, .310 average, 8 home runs, 33 RBIs in 32 games. A little different haircut from the photo. Unless he was in a bun, I'm not sure, but he has let it go here down the stretch in 2006. And I'm jealous, I'll be honest with you.
Hairstyles change, Joe.
One ball, no strikes on Carlos Guillen, and we spent some time with his manager Jim Leland prior to the game, and he couldn't say enough about how smart Guillen is as his shortstop.
Now, I asked Jim in our meeting if Placido Polanco was managerial material. And Jim said, yeah, but you know who our smartest player is? Carlos Guillen.
Eventually will probably move away from the shortstop position. His range has been cut down over the years. He made 28 errors this season, but he can hit. 9th best average in the American League at .320, 19 home runs. He holds it high and waits for a 2-0 pitch. 3-0. On deck, Pudge Rodriguez. He has been getting better every month. And obviously rolls into the postseason red hot, hitting .370 during September and October.
Situation where Guillen is not thinking about getting the runner to third. He's thinking about getting him home, especially when the count's in his favor.
Ooh, what a rip on 3-0.
Bad sign for Wang. The slider to Ordonez was up, and the fastball right down the pipe, right above the letters to Guillen.
.6'3", 220 is Chien-Ming Wang. The pride of Taiwan. Behind on the count, 3 balls and a strike. Full count. Really is a national hero back home. And the government of his hometown, Tainan, erected a monument outside his parents' home to mark where the pride of Taiwan grew up.
They are watching in Taiwan at 8:40 a.m. as we speak. a.m.
A 3-2. A walk to put the first 2 on here in the second inning for Detroit.
Southwestern Taiwan, Tainan City. You see Gene Lamont talking to Ivan Rodriguez. Jim Leland telling us before the game that he was going to push it. And when a manager says that, even if you have runners on at first and second, you might see a hit and run. Leland understanding that if he goes toe-to-toe with the Yankees, there's no way to compete with this lineup. So you have to do something different. You have to send the runners. The element of surprise, very important. I would not be a bit surprised to see the runners taking off somewhere in this sequence.
And after that, Jim Leland said this series is going to be a second guesser's dream series because I am going to throw it all out there. Some of it's going to work, some of it isn't. I'm going to be criticized, and I don't care. Showing bunt and pulling back. A little bit of a surprise is Pudge Rodriguez.
Well, I think that bunt draws the infielders in, and now it'd be a perfect time to send the runners. You got the infielders moving around, a contact hitter up, a ground ball pitcher. All the things say that the runner should be moving right here. We'll see.
They are going. Rodriguez swings through it. Throw down. Out.
It's an odd play for that reason. The manager, by putting this on, forces the base runner to make the first out at third base. And that's not a good thing to do. But as Jim Leland said, he does not care. It was up to Rodriguez to put it in play. He didn't. And Ordonez is as easy out at third base.
So there you go, second guess away. Now a runner at second, 1 out, and a 1-1 pitch. Strike 2 on Rodriguez. But you mentioned the key part of it. put the play on. It's up to Ivan Rodriguez to put the bat on the ball.
Yeah, and in fairness to Pudge, Joe, that pitch was a wicked sinker down and in, out of the strike zone. So Wang took care of his job by preventing Rodriguez from putting the ball in play.
1 ball, 2 strikes. First inning earlier today. The running game of the Twins helped bail Barry Zito out of a first inning situation, and he rolled on from there. A 3-2 win is the result, and a great day for Frank Thomas, who hit 2 home runs. Here's the pitch with the runners going.
And a terrific throw by Posada, who has been helped so much this year by Tony Pena, the first base coach and former catcher, throwing behind the batter, and a strike at third. They had Ordonez easily.
Now a 2-2. A late swing and a miss, 2 out. And the first strikeout of the night for Wang.
Idea of how that sinker goes down. A lot of hitters talk about hitting it, and it feels like a bowling ball. What a description of a tough sinker from Wang.
So a promising start to the inning. 2 on with nobody out, and Rodriguez up. Out at third stealing is Ordonez. A strikeout of Rodriguez, and now with a runner at second, 2 out. Here's Craig Monroe. And there's a ground ball to short. Jeter takes care of it. And the Yankees and Wang are out of trouble. Bottom of the second rolls in. Giambi, Rodriguez, Matsui coming up. No score. Triple header tomorrow on ESPN. Wednesday baseball for you. The A's at the Twins early at 1 o'clock Eastern, followed by the Dodgers at the Mets. Game 1 there, and then Game 2 of the Tigers at the Yankees here. And hit with the first pitch is Giambi to start the second.
Giambi was hit 16 times during the regular season, second in the American League to Reed Johnson of Toronto. And a very interesting situation right here.
The reigning AL MVP gets a nice hand from this crowd at Yankee Stadium. The year of Alex Rodriguez, which was up and down. Finished strong in the month of September, had a brutal August. And this crowd day after day climbed on his case, and all of that on the heels of his division series last year against the Angels, when he went 2 for 15 with no RBIs.
He has gone 8 postseason games without an RBI.
1 ball, 1 strike. First 23 postseason games, that includes his time with Seattle, compared to his last 8. A slugging percentage of .148. And this is a guy who at the age of 31 has 464 career home runs. Up on the count here, 2-1. So Joe Torre pulled him into his office down the stretch, and he said, look, I don't know what I'm going to do with my order, my batting order, but I'm going to hit you 4th, 5th, or 6th. So be ready. And Rodriguez did not get upset about it. He's had to answer questions over the last day plus about him hitting in the 6th spot as he takes a high strike. And he's hitting this low in the order for the first time since June of 1995.
Tigers got a break there on that high breaking ball. Home plate umpire Tim McClellan with a delayed call. That evens the count. A big difference, hitting 2-2 and 3 balls and 1 strike.
High for a full count. Patrick Ewing is at the game, one of the many stars here with us tonight. And we watched him settle into his seat. He is testing every bolt on that seat down there and the leg room here at Yankee Stadium.
The man has some reach, right?
Oh, painful to watch him get into the seat. 3-2. Still full. Hideki Matsui on deck, and one of the things that Alex Rodriguez talked about when he had to answer questions about hitting sixth is that he's getting the protection of a guy like Hideki Matsui batting behind him.
You think about every spot in the Yankee order, one protects the other. That's how strong the lineup is, 1 through 9.
A late swing and a foul on a 92-mile-an-hour pitch. The Donald is here. His wife Melania.
I don't know. Melania. No, good going. How'd you know that?
I read the life section. 3-2. Line drive caught by Polanco. Throw behind Giambi is late. 2 out.
Sometimes a manager just gambles on whether to send the runner or not. Had Giambi been running here, it's a double play. To keep Giambi at first base, he reacts in time to get back in time.
You can see the ball underneath the body of Giambi. That's out number 1 of the inning on the line drive. Rodriguez hit it hard, and Polanco up to get it. So it's 1-on-1 out for Hideki Matsui. And when we asked Joe Torre before the game if in June we had told him that both Matsui and Sheffield would be in the lineup for him, come October, would he have been surprised? And he said, yeah, I didn't count on either one of them being back. If I had to pick one, it would have been Matsui. Hideki pops it up. That's Monroe in left. 2 down. And the inning is up to Posada.
Joe, earlier you talked about Nate Robertson and his grit, determination. He's a pitcher that Jim Leyland just loves, and any manager would. Several starts ago, he's pitching in Minnesota, took a line drive right off the rib cage, and Jim Leyland saying nobody else would answer the bell. And Robertson pitching 4 more innings of that game, got a no decision. That's the type of guy he is. He is one tough dude.
And part of a rotation that gave Detroit 75 wins. 75 of their 95 were picked up by the starting rotation. Posada strike 1, and overall the team ERA led the major leagues for the first time in franchise history. So a nice job done by the pitching coach Chuck Hernandez in his first year with Jim Leyland. Last time they led the American League was 1984 when they were world champs.
Sparky Anderson at the helm.
He was there in '87, the last time the Tigers were in the postseason. Before now. To the left of Guillen and into center field for a hit. Giambi will hold at second. It's 2 on, 2 out.
Good hitting by Posada with Guillen in the hole. Posada hits it up the middle. It's an interesting situation there. 2 outs. You've got Giambi on at second base. If a ball's hit hard to an outfielder by Cano, it's going to be tough for Larry Bowa to score Giambi. And he can't get off too far because of the arm of Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate, one of the greatest throwing catchers in the history of the game.
Jim Leyland talked about this lineup. He said, I'll sum it up for you real easy. The guy that's fighting for a batting title, Robinson Cano, is hitting 9th. As we said at the top, we described it as murderer's row and Cano.
That's
and with 2 on, 2 out, here is Robinson Cano, who finished 3rd with an average of .342. His 35 games with a hamstring strain. Came back and hit .365 since he came off the DL in early August. He is jammed. What a good pitch. Robertson gets out of trouble. 2 scoreless innings here at Yankee Stadium. After 2, game 1 of this divisional series, no score. Yankees and Tigers, no score after 2. We move into the 3rd inning, getting near the top of the hour, 9 o'clock in the East. And the first pitch to Marcus Thames is on the way and fouled back and out of play toward us. Good start here in this first game of this division series.
Joe, I was just thinking about Jim Leyland and his honesty and what he tells you before the game, saying, forget about the second guessers. I don't care what they say. I'm going to run. I'm going to do things unorthodox. I'm going to do it my way. And sure enough, one of the differences in this game thus far.
95-mile-an-hour pitch from Wang, and the count goes to 0-2. Only hit for the Tigers belongs to Ordonez, a leadoff double in the 2nd. He was out trying to steal 3rd, and that's that same category of what Tim's talking about. There's one down toward the corner, and a fair ball. Played off the wall by Matsui. He thought that the ball was interfered with. That was a live ball, and Timms was ready to stop at first. And after watching the body language and the effort by Matsui, just kept going.
A fan reaches over, but the ball goes below the fan's glove. You can see the umpire, left field umpire Larry Poncino, saying the fan did not interfere. But you're right, Matsui lets up on the ball. Timms may have made it into second base anyway, but a momentary stop right there. So had Matsui gotten to that ball quickly, perhaps Timms would have stopped at first.
And now a strike with Inge showing bunt after what is ruled a leadoff double by Marcus Timms, who came up in the Yankee organization. Melky Cabrera played a brilliant left field for Joe Torre while Matsui was injured. Very good throwing arm, and obviously you can't compare the two players at this stage in their career, but defensively they give up a little with Matsui out in left and Cabrera on the bench.
And here the Yankees are in postseason, having developed a young player like Melky Cabrera in the process. When you can win and develop at the same time during the same year, you've really done something.
Inge with a count 0-2. To the left side, Rodriguez flags it, throws it, 1 out, and Inge does not advance the runner. Brandon Inge tells us his thoughts when he steps to the plate trying to figure out the sinker of Chien-Ming Wang.
You literally have to swing and try to miss underneath the ball, because it's coming in, and where you think it's going to be, it usually sinks right towards the end, and by the time you've already committed towards your swing and you swing where you think it's going to be, it drops right below. And I think my last at bat, I probably had 4 or 5 foul tips straight into the dirt and went to the backstop. I mean, it was just ridiculous how much it drops. So you almost literally have to swing directly under the ball and try to miss underneath, and it actually comes right into your barrel.
That's one of the side effects of that sinker. It almost makes a hitter change his swing to adapt to it.
Out of play off the bat of Curtis Granderson.
From our center field camera, this gives you an idea of how the ball goes down below the knees. And sure enough, Brandon swings on top of the ball and grounds it to Rodriguez, failing to move the runner.
When this game started, the Detroit Tigers had on their 25-man roster 18 players who were experiencing postseason for the first time. They are young, they are inexperienced in October. The other dugout, you've got a team full of players who make no family plans for October year after year. Down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
The one thing I think that experience does for you, it allows you to take a step back and not be too anxious. Inexperience and anxiety go hand in hand.
Here is a 1-1 to the right side and through, base hit. Coming to the plate is Timms. He's held late by Lamont. It's first and third with 1 out.
Good play by Gene Lamont. And I say that from a third base coach standpoint. We were talking about it earlier. Third base coach, almost like an offensive coordinator in football. He becomes part of the play on the field, and Gene Lamont holding Timms at third base. And it's a good thing. I think he would have been out. I mean, the throw was a little off to the right, but Abreu charging quickly, and that's what stops the runner.
So now first and third with one out, and Polanco will have Detroit's best chance to grab the lead. Placido during the regular year drove in 52 runs, hit .295, and missed 5 weeks after suffering a left shoulder injury on a diving play he made at Fenway Park. They couldn't wait to get him back in their lineup. Very valuable number 2 hitter. Trying to come through for the Tigers here. And a check on Granderson. He stole 8 bases during the regular season.
Joe, in situations like this, Polanco, what he likes to do is hit the ball to the right side. If you hit it to the second baseman or first baseman, the double play is very difficult to turn. That's why with less than 2 outs and runners on at first and third, you try to go to the right side of the field. Because a double play, even if you hit it at somebody, is a lot tougher to turn.
Guy who handles the bat well and makes a lot of contact. He takes inside for ball 1.
That's that cat and mouse game. The way to combat that for a guy who likes to go the other way is to pitch him inside. That's what Wong's trying to do.
Timms at third, Granderson at first, 1 out. Polanco came up in the Cardinal organization, traded to the Phillies, and he grounds to the left side. Jeter, no, double play. And the Tigers miss another chance. Put their first 2 on in the second, didn't score. First and third, 1 out here in the third, and a double play follows. Wong and that sinker, they get out of trouble. Let's go back to that double play that bailed the Yankees out of trouble.
Backhand by Jeter, and watch Cano use the bag for protection. Different ways second basemen do that. That is really nicely turned by Jeter and Cano.
Good stretch by Sheffield over at first base, and pitch number 1 is a strike to Johnny Damon. Top of the order for New York, no score. Game 1 of this divisional series, Damon, Jeter, and Abreu. That's over but low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Prior to us coming back from break, Derek Jeter was getting a little too close from his on-deck circle area. He was right behind home plate. The home plate umpire, Tim McClellan, turned around, was screaming to get his attention and said, "Hey, Mr. Captain, potential MVP, move back toward your dugout."
Well, the reason on-deck batters do that is to get a better look at the pitcher and what kind of stuff he has.
2-2 on Damon.
Game has changed, Joe. 30 years ago, you didn't. Not one of those back in my day, but 30 years ago, you didn't do that.
What would have happened?
The pitcher would have handled that.
How?
Jeter comes up, he'd have knocked him down or put one in his ribs.
Slow roller. Robertson can't make the play, and that's an infield hit for Johnny Damon.
Robertson falling off toward the third base side. He went with the glove, and then he tried to barehand it. So it's a base hit, but a ball that should have been fielded by Robertson. But a lot of left-handers have this problem, going to their left. Momentum takes him toward third base, trying to recover to go toward first. And now the Yankees have their leadoff batter on.
They have their third hit, their fourth base runner, and here is Jeter, who got their first hit back in the first. Yankee lineup led the major leagues in runs per game. You get the feeling that as this postseason wears on, if you are going to beat them, you're going to have to try and outslug them. First pitch, a strike from Robertson to Jeter, who finished second, 4 points behind Joe Mauer of the Minnesota Twins in the American League batting race. So congratulations to Joe Mauer, St. Paul native, who was the first American League catcher to win the batting title. Somebody who I know impresses you when you watch him play.
I should say so. Impresses you so much behind the plate, and he's such a good hitter that you have to think that the Twins are going to talk to him about changing a position because of the wear and tear of that catching position takes on guys who squat for a living.
It was a terrific combination between Cano, who hit .342, and his keystone combination partner, double play partner Derek Jeter, who hit .343. And as the two hit over .340, they become the first double play combination in Major League Baseball history. Both hit over .340 in the same season. 0-2 pitch is a little tight. Ball one. That surprised me that hadn't happened before in Major League Baseball history. And there is their hitting instructor, Don Mattingly, who also serves as the guy teaching Gary Sheffield how to play first base. That's low. 2-2. Prior to this game, I don't think, Tim, any Yankee got a bigger ovation than Don Mattingly when he went out to take his spot down the first baseline.
Yeah, New Yorkers love Don Mattingly.
2-2 pitch.
Well, Joe Torre did not send Jason Giambi on that 3-2 count with Rodriguez hitting, but I think he'll send Damon. Whole different situation right here. Contact hitter up, speed on the bases. I think Damon will be off.
2 for 2, and so is Jeter. That's into left center field. Damon will scoot to third. They're going to hold him there. Diving into second with a double is Jeter.
By sending the runner, Torre did two things. He allowed Jeter to hit the ball hard, but the shortstop covered Carlos Chien because of Jeter's propensity to go the other way. Because he covered, it wasn't an out, it was a double.
That at bat, Jeter started 0-2 with a count, worked it full, and then doubles.
Watch Carlos Chien, the shortstop, pitches on the way. He's covering. That takes him out of position. And because of that, Jeter has a double. And the Yankees have second and third, nobody out instead of a runner on at first and one out.
Or a double play.
Or a double play, right.
Here's Abreu, and there is strike one. So now the Yankees have their shot. Second and third, nobody out. Bottom of the third. Abreu drove in 42 runs in 58 games after being picked up by the Yankees. And he is probably the most patient hitter in all of the major leagues.
I agree with that. It's what makes him a good two-strike hitter.
Saw more pitches per plate appearance than any hitter in the big leagues this year. Spike Lee in the crowd watching as Abreu hits it into right center field. That ball is going to put the Yankees up 2-0. Damon and Jeter score. And the Yankees strike first.
Robertson hangs a slider And Abreu, a guy whom Joe Torre says is a perfect fit, drives in his first 2 runs in postseason history.
So the combination of Damon, Jeter, and Abreu. Single and 2 doubles and a visit to the mound. Jim Leyland told us before the game that any sign of trouble, he is going to be the one to go out and talk to Robertson to try and calm him down. And now he needs to really pitch. With a runner at second, nobody out, 2 runs home, and the heart of this order coming up.
Yeah, with this lineup the Yankees have, there's nobody to pitch around.
Sheffield fly to center his first time, and here he shoots one into right center field. Abreu will score. It's 3-0 New York on a hit by Gary Sheffield.
Chefs are out at Chef's Field. You think of Gary Sheffield as only a power hitter, but he has very good bat control for a guy who swings the bat that hard. Going the other way to plate the 3rd Yankee run.
Here's Giambi. Hit by a pitch his first time up. Scoring easily from second on that hit to right center, Abreu. In for a strike. .253 average, 37 home runs, 113 RBIs on the year. DH in this Yankee lineup. That's in for another strike, 0-2. Robertson now pitching to keep his team in the game. Still nobody out. 3 runs home and a check on Sheffield over at first.
Joe, in my experience, I don't think I've ever seen a lineup where every hitter in the lineup has made the All-Star team at least once.
Real question with this Yankee team in this postseason is the pitching.
Yeah.
There are the All-Star selections in this lineup from Damon through Cano. Cano injured this year, could not play. There's the Mickey Mantle. Yogi Berra on the end. He was in the Yankee clubhouse before tonight's game. That is hit down the right field line, foul. And the count's still 1-2.
Yogi's suffering through a cracked right shoulder. And if you're hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. So Yogi not missing work right now, showing up at the Yankee clubhouse before the game.
That's fought off. Beginning of the season last year, after the whole steroid scandal and Balco and Giambi's name being dragged into that, and having his press conference here where he never really admitted to anything but apologized to everybody. Didn't hit anything in the first half of the year, and then came on and was the comeback player of the year, and now this season has added to it. Signed on with the Yankees, has not been a world champion. Hits one into deep right field. Back at the wall, Giambi sends one out. It's 5-zip. signing before the 2002 season to try to get that World Series ring. He doesn't have one. Mike Mussina, the Game's 2 starter, doesn't have one. Signing in 2001. And this group trying to find their first title since the year 2000 when they beat the Mets. On their way tonight, leading 5-0 and a ball high to Alex Rodriguez.
Nate Robertson tried to come inside with the fastball to Giambi. And in this ballpark, when you try to do that, you've got to make sure you get it inside. Otherwise, these guys hit routine fly balls that are home runs. That's what Giambi did.
Into left field, another hit, and there's still nobody out. 6 straight hits.
Trying to get it in there, and he leaves it out over the plate, and Giambi just muscles it out. See that, you know, that is a pitch that Robertson is not too far off the mark, but just enough to where Giambi muscles it out. I mean, you think about it, Nate Robertson allowed only 2 home runs all year to left-handed batters, and here Giambi hits him up for 1 in the 3rd inning.
The 2 guys who got him, Thome and Morneau. And now Giambi is on the list here in Game 1 of the division series. Matsui takes one in the dirt. Dug out by Rodriguez. And Jason Grilli, the right-hander, cranks it up for Detroit. Matsui at the plate, flied out to left field his first time. In for a strike. Came on the air talking about how good Robertson has been against left-handed batters this season. They hit 181 against him, the lowest average in the American League. Tonight, lefties 3 for 7 with a home run and 4 RBIs. The 1-1. Left center field, and Granderson to his right. First out of the inning. And the batter will be Posada. We started to talk about the pitching situation for the Yankees. They have Wang on the mound tonight. They have Mussina ready for Game 2, and then after that, all signs point toward Randy Johnson, despite the bulging disc in his back.
And across town, the New York Mets open their series against the Los Angeles Dodgers tomorrow afternoon. And horrible news for the Mets with El Duque. Orlando Hernandez pulling a calf muscle, working out today, and he was listed as the #1 game starter. But now we do not know who's going to start. Perhaps John Maine has been mentioned as the guy to start for the Mets tomorrow.
They have Glavine scheduled for Game 2. 1 on, 1 out. Ball 1 up and into Posada. Game 2 will be on Fox on Thursday night between the Mets and the Dodgers. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. Crow will start for the Dodgers, and I believe Glavine for the Mets.
He's scheduled.
2-0 is the count on Posada, with Cano waiting on deck. Robertson trying to hold it right here. 5-0 Yankees, with the heart of the lineup coming up for Detroit in their half of the 4th. Now it's 3-0. Robertson, the 29-year-old left-hander, Wichita, Kansas, went to Wichita State. Has to serve one up on 3-0, and Posada swinging at it, slices it into right. Ordonez on the run. What a play. Great catch by Maglio Ordonez for out number 2.
That was a beauty right there. The ball tailing away from Maglio. Going toward the line, a fair ball. Nicely played by Maglio Ordonez, a terrific right fielder.
And that is a tricky right field to play on a ball like that, because obviously there's no foul ground. And Ordonez is going with a full head of steam. Once you cross that line, the next thing is a wall.
Yeah, it gets your drift. If that ball eludes him, it could rattle around in the corner. Ordonez slams into the wall, and Posada may have a double or a triple on a ball like that.
Here's Cano. He takes a strike. On deck is Damon, another left-handed batter, so you would think that Robertson would have Cano and then one more if the inning doesn't end with the number 9 man at the plate. Yankees have batted around here in the 3rd inning. And it should end right there. Monroe in left. It was a loud inning for the Yankees. It started with a little old infield hit by Damon, and it rolled on from there. Jeter with a double, Abreu a double, a hit by Sheffield, and a blast for the exclamation point by Giambi. 5-0. Hits it complete. Turn a fast and long-lasting double play against heartburn by DirecTV. There's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's DirecTV. By X-Men: The Last Stand, available now on DVD. And by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan. Chevy, an American revolution. 4th inning now, and the Tigers bat against Chien-Ming Wang. Casey goes after the first pitch. If you are going to beat this Yankee team, you've got to stretch out the starters, which Detroit can hope to do, and then go after the middle relief, which is the underbelly of this Yankees team, because we all know who they have waiting at the end of their bullpen. As good as there ever has been in the postseason, closing games in Mariano Rivera. This is not a Yankee team that one time featured Jeff Nelson setting up, Mike Stanton setting up, and guys who could get the ball in the 7th and 8th with regularity, maintaining leads to Rivera. They're going to ask a lot out of Farnsworth and Proctor. Farnsworth, who has struggled in the postseason, and Proctor, who has never really been called upon to do that in the postseason. Outside, ball 1 to Sean Casey. Tino Martinez threw out the first pitch here at Yankee Stadium, and as we said, Don Mattingly, the beloved ex-Yankee and the guy who took over at that spot for Don Mattingly, is the very classy Tino Martinez. A 1-2 pitch. Casey flies one into left center field. Matsui. 1 out. Let's look back on what is a terrific year for the Tigers. A Cinderella season. In first place, 138 straight days. The best road record in the major league. Best starting ERA in the major league. And their first playoff appearance since 1987. There were names like Sparky Anderson, who was doing what Jim Leland is doing now, and Jack Morris, and Alan Trammell, and Lou Whitaker, Kirk Gibson. Ordonez goes after the first pitch and pops it up. Bobby Abreu for out number 2.
And the players will point to that meeting that Jim Leland had back in April 18th. He had that meeting with the media. It was very curt, and it said an awful lot. It kind of set the stage for the Tigers season. Jim Leland saying that it's his responsibility to get his team ready to play. He didn't do it, the coaches didn't do it, and the players didn't live up to it.
Basically apologizing for the team's effort in a game against the Indians, and for a club that won 71 games last year, they win 95 this year. And if you want to know how a manager goes about trying to change the attitude and culture in the clubhouse and raise the level of expectation, that's exactly what Jim Leland did on that April day. 0-1 the count with 2 out and nobody on. Guillen at the plate. Walked his first time. That gets away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Carlos at one point was in the Houston organization and was a part of that Randy Johnson deal years back. Went to Seattle and now has been part of the rebuilding process with Detroit. That is a fair ball down the left field line. Matsui plays it down the line, and Guillen has a 2-out double. Here is that day in April. Jim Leyland trying to change the attitude.
We stunk, period. Stunk, and it's not good enough. It's been going on here before, and it's not going to happen here. It's not going to go on here. We had a chance to come out and take a series, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm talking about in team. Myself, the coaches, and everybody else included. It's my responsibility to have the team ready to play today. They weren't ready to play. They were ready to get on the plane and go to Oakland. If we won, it was okay, and if we lost, it was okay, and that's not good enough. Are there any other questions? If not, I'm done.
Talking about not mincing any words. Woo. How can you be any more direct?
He was hot. Woo. And I would imagine some of that is, I don't want to say a show because that has a negative connotation, but he wanted his players to see that.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
He wanted that to be replayed throughout Detroit and have his players see him act like that after an effort where he thought they mailed it in.
And we obliged him. We're playing it in October.
0-1 is the count. Rodriguez trying to dig into this 5-0 Yankee lead. Good pitch down and in from Wang. It's 0-2.
Yeah, that's the same pitch that Rodriguez swung through in that very important play when Leland sent the runners and Ordonez was thrown out at third base. Out of the same kennel.
Crowd gets back into it with a count of 0-2. And Wang went back to that same spot. This right-hander for the Yankees has struck out 1, walked 1. He's allowed no runs on 4 hits. Denzel Washington is here. His son J.D. is on the practice squad of the St. Louis Rams as a running back.
I didn't know that.
Here's an 0-2. Ball 1. There's a powerful luxury box here at Yankee Stadium. You've got Donald, Regis, and Dick Ebersol from NBC. On 1-2. Pudge takes down and away. 2-2. Pudge may be the nickname, but it doesn't fit anymore.
No.
On deck is Craig Monroe. Guillen hit the 3rd double of the night for Detroit. It came with 2 outs and now the 2-2. And a good at bat continues for Ivan Rodriguez.
Think about toiling behind the plate as long as Rodriguez has done so. Many years with the Texas Rangers. Then he went to the Florida Marlins, part of the World Championship team in 2003. His 10th season at 300 or better. Only Bill Dickey, the great Yankee, one of the number 8s that's retired here at Yankee Stadium, has more. He had 11.
Rodriguez celebrated with his Marlin teammates in 2003 right here, Game 6.
Right.
Behind Beckett. A strikeout for Wang, his 2nd of the day, and he has taken care of Rodriguez both times. Top of the order coming up for the Yankees as they bat in the bottom of the 4th. 5-0 New York.
That's where they're really good. A lot of times they don't really, chase outside of the zone, and they wait for that one pitch that they can whack on you, but they want it.
First pitch, a strike to Johnny Damon. He hit a slow roller to the left of Nate Robertson in the third. Robertson couldn't make a play, and the inning imploded from then on for Detroit. 6 straight hits and 5 runs for the Yankees. 1 out. Damon is 1 for 3, and before the start of the bottom of the 4th inning, we had a chance to visit with Yankee manager Joe Torre. Well, Joe Torre, everybody was talking about this lineup coming in, and you have to be happy with the kind of start that you're off to here tonight.
Well, you know, Joe, just starting the game, I think everybody, you know, was a little tight, a little anxious, but once, you know, Johnny got that lucky hit, and then Jeter worked that great at bat, and Abreu sort of got us off the schneid, you know, everything seemed to fall into place for us.
Let's talk about your pitcher, Chien-Ming Wang. He's not the most glamorous name that you could run out there, but I know you have a ton of confidence in this kid. He's been great for you.
Yeah, ask those people in Taiwan. They think he's pretty glamorous. I tell you, he's been right there for us all year. The youngster has been steady as a rock. His personality, you know, made us feel that he could handle this situation. And, you know, I think he's trying to overthrow it at times. He's left a couple of sliders up, but for the most part, he's gotten the ground ball when he's needed it.
Let's ask you one final question. You haven't named your starter in Game 4. Is your starter in Game 3 Randy Johnson?
Yes, it is. Yes, he is the Game 3 starter. He'll be out here early tomorrow morning and then throw a bullpen and then fly on ahead.
All right, Joe. Thanks.
All right, Joe.
Joe Torre, kind enough to join us between innings. Doesn't have to, but he does it. We will visit with Jim Leland as we continue through this Game 1. Randy Johnson threw 41 pitches on Sunday, had an epidural last week. He has a bulging disc in his back. And a curious quote after throwing on the side the 41 pitches, saying everyone else seemed more pleased than I was, which made you wonder, well, does he not feel good? But he's been throwing on the side. As Joe said, we'll throw again tomorrow and then go ahead to Detroit for a Game 3 start. Abreu takes it a little tight. The count is 3-0. Was that a late strike call? It's 2-1.
Tim McClellan, more than any other umpire in the major leagues, with a delayed strike call.
Thanks. I know you always got my back over there. 11 years later, runner goes on a pitch up and in, and they have Jeter caught in the rundown, caught stealing for out number 2.
That was a hit and run where Jeter could run, but Abreu couldn't hit. That pitch tied him up and in. You're thinking about going after it. Rodriguez with an easy throw to second base. We talked about his prowess as a catcher and a thrower. Jeter easy out. Hit and run, an easy call right there, and Abreu couldn't do anything about it.
2-6-3 and a smile from the guy who led all catchers in the big leagues at throwing out runners during the regular season.
He's been smiling a long time because of that. What a player.
Texas 91 to 2002, had that 2003 season in Florida. Was a leader on that world championship team. Here's a fly ball into left off the bat of Abreu. We go to the 5th inning here at Yankee Stadium. 5-0 New York. Back after this from your local Fox station. Bottom 3 in the lineup for Detroit: Monroe, Timms, and then Inge. The first pitch is down and away for a ball from Wang to Craig Monroe. Grounded out to short. The runner in scoring position back in the 2nd. Tigers had a chance to grab the lead in the 2nd, couldn't score. Had a real good opportunity in the 3rd inning, but Polanco bounced into a double play with runners at the corners and 1 out. A 2-out double by Guillen in the 4th. And now down 5-0. It counts even on Monroe. 1 ball, 1 strike as we start the 5th. 2-1.
Chien-Ming Wang, a 19-game winner this year. This was the first year in the history of baseball, other than strike season included, where there was no 20-game winner.
Monroe flies one into center field. Damon is back at the track, at the wall, and it's gone. Monroe, who won a game with a home run here at the end of August, goes deep straightaway center field and puts Detroit on the board 5-1. Well, maybe that'll get the Tigers' offense revved up as Monroe goes straight away over the 408 mark in center field.
That was a fastball, too. He got it up a little bit, but credit Monroe. Greg Monroe and Marcus Thames, the closest of friends.
This Thames is a great story.
Yeah, it really is.
Guy who was a 30th round pick by the Yankees in '96, as you watch the home run hit by Monroe to straightaway center. Thames spent at least part of 9 straight seasons in the minor leagues, but didn't quit. Got that attitude from his mother. She's a single mom, raised 5 kids, paralyzed from the neck down. Paralyzed in an accident when Marcus was 5 years old. He said he learned about perseverance through watching his mom day after day after day, saying that here's his mom who couldn't give herself a glass of water. How can I complain about going up and down the minor leagues and the big leagues and walk away from this game? And he has been rewarded for his perseverance with getting a chance to play on a regular basis for Leland this year. He's 1 for 2, doubled his first time up, and now grounds out to short, 1 away.
Well, speaking of moms, how proud must the mother of Craig Monroe be right now? And it is a natural segue. What is Craig Monroe's mother's name? Marilyn Monroe.
Really?
Marilyn very happy right now.
Craig this season, the 29-year-old from Texarkana, Texas, putting his team on the board. Struggled down the stretch. 1 for 2 tonight with a home run. Here's Inge, and there's a base hit into right. 1 on, 1 out, back to the top of the lineup, and the Tigers hope this is the inning where they jump back into it. Fox NFL Sunday returns with a doubleheader this Sunday as the Redskins take on the Giants in a big game in the NFC East. And then later you can say the same about Terrell Owens and his return with the Cowboys to Philadelphia, plus other regional action. It all starts with America's #1 pregame show live from Philly at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox.
You'll be with Terry and Howie and Jimmy, and then go up the booth and be with Troy.
That's right. It'll be a fun day in Philadelphia, and we've already been there and taken our traveling road show there week 2. The city was great, the crowd was great, and we expect even more going back there this Sunday. But it will be a big day of football right here on Fox. Washington getting a win over Jacksonville last weekend. They're 2-2. Giants coming off a bye week. They're 1-2, and they desperately need a win. And then Dallas coming off a victory over Tennessee, taking on Philly. They took care of Green Bay and Brett Favre last night. Here's an 0-1 pitch. Granderson takes low, a ball and a strike. Curtis is singled and fly to left. Who is going to step up and be a star in this series for the Tigers? Monroe has his name in the hat with his home run, and now Granderson trying to add something to it here in the 5th inning. Well, 1-1. Popped into left, slicing over to Matsui. 2 down. And Polanco will bat. Placido steps in, 0 for 2, and he bounced into the double play. Nicely turned by Jeter and Cano to end the threat that the Tigers had out there in the third.
Normally with a 4-run lead, Gary Sheffield would be playing behind the runner because the chance of Inge running right now is not that great. But think about Sheffield right now. You know, his inexperience makes it difficult for Joe Torre to put him behind the runner, because it's a lot tougher to field a ground ball, and Polanco will go that way. We talked about it earlier. Joe playing it straight up, and it makes sense. Play behind the runner, you've got the runner in front of you, he's breaking towards second, stuff like that. So Joe Torre playing it straight up.
1 ball, no strikes on Polanco. That slice down the right field line. Will it stay fair? It is a fair ball. Inge will dig for third. Lamont brings him around to the plate. Brandon Inge is safe, and it's a 5-2 game. A 2-out RBI double by Placido Polanco to make it a 3-run Yankee lead.
And that is pure Polanco right there. Going to right field. Fair by about a foot max. He grounded out to a 6-4-3 double play his last time up. Determined this time to go the other way as Inge scores easily. Inge running hard from the get-go. And Gene Lamont, the third base coach, sends Brandon home without a play. Tigers right back in this baby.
Ron Guidry is out to talk to Chien-Ming Wang. Inge is in the dugout, huffing and puffing after scoring from first. It's a 3-run game, and Sean Casey, known throughout baseball as being maybe the nicest guy you could run across, to the point where you think, this guy's putting me on. But he's consistent and is always smiling and is always willing to talk to anybody who happens by his locker.
His nickname in Cincinnati was the Mayor. So the Mayor's hitting with a runner in scoring position. Key situation once again for Detroit.
He did not hit well in the last 26 games of the regular season with 202. Here's more about the Mayor. Sean Casey, who started the season in Pittsburgh. Favorite musician, Dave Matthews. Childhood idol, Will Clark. Good selection there. Likes watching pro wrestling and reads the Bible every day.
Now that tandem doesn't ring true. Pro wrestling and the Bible. Huh?
Wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling.
1 ball, no strikes. And Casey dumps one into left field. That will make it a 2-run game. The Tigers are back. A 3-run 5th, and they're still going as Casey drives home Polanco.
Well, that pitch should never have been thrown, and Derek Jeter's thinking that right now. Jeter goes over to cover second base. Wong doesn't see him. And Jeter breaking late, and that ball's in the gap in left center field. That was an odd play. I think Derek Jeter on a trying to work the daylight play, where when a pitcher sees daylight between the runner and the shortstop, he turns and throws to second base. It didn't work, and the Tigers creep forward.
So Casey, who doesn't run well at all, is the runner at second with 2 out for Maglio Ordonez, who has hit well, as we've already told you, in his history here at Yankee Stadium. Coming in lifetime against the Yankees, a .304 career average with 18 home runs against Yankee pitching. Jared Wright, or rather Bruni, another big right-hander, Brian Bruni, former Diamondback, is getting loose. Hard throwing right-hander. The 0-1 pitch is in the dirt, a ball and a strike. This little rally came out of nowhere, and it started with a leadoff home run by Craig Monroe.
Joe, your point a couple of innings ago about the underbelly of the Yankee pitching staff. Now that part of that underbelly is up and throwing in the bullpen as the Tigers have gotten to Wong here in the 5th.
Rooney is a guy who was cut loose by Arizona. That is sliced foul and a good catch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Better be awake down there. One-two pitch. Ordonez strikes out. But the Tigers jump back into the game. And it started with a leadoff home run by Craig Monroe. Out to straightaway center after 4.5, 5-3 New York. The Division Series on Fox is sponsored by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan. Chevy, an American revolution. The urgency is there from the beginning in a best-of-5 series. You go through spring training, you play a 162-game schedule. For the Yankees, they cruised to a 97-win season, a 10-game lead over Toronto at the end of the year. Boston finished 11 out. Tigers, the feel-good story of the season in 2006. And it comes down to who can win 3 games between these two. A best-of-5 series to move on to the ALCS. It's 5-3 Yankees, bottom of the 5th inning. Sheffield, Giambi, and Rodriguez, the hitters. Robertson has persevered, and he has found the strike zone. It's 2-1. Down and away, 3-1.
Joe, what makes the pressure so insufferable here, think about it, the teams are playing the best 3 out of 5 after finishing a 162-game schedule. It's the inequity involved. 162 as you look at Mariano Rivera, 162 compared to a maximum of 5 games.
Sheffield out in front on that pitch, pops up to Polanco, 1 away. 10 o'clock in the East. As we play game 1 of this divisional series, bottom of the 5th inning, and a 5-3 Yankee lead. Our Verizon game summary. Tigers are 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Wang has 7 of his 15 outs by ground ball. And the left-handed hitters now 3 of 11 with a home run and 4 RBIs against Nate Robertson. Here is Giambi, who hit a 2-run home run his last time up. Hit by a pitch his first time, takes a strike. The shift on the infield defense put on by Jim Leland, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. We talked with Jim during the last break. It was short and sweet. We'll play it for you after Giambi does something here with 1 out. That's foul. Here we go. Here's Jim Leland. Well, Jim, I'm glad I'm talking to you this inning as opposed to last inning. You guys just jumped right back into this game, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We had a tough inning, but it was really they talk about the home run by Giambi and the other hits, but it was really a simple play that Nate should have fielded the ball. And, you know, the Yankees take advantage of stuff like that, and that's what they did that inning. He got the ball up.
Last question, we'll let you go. We talked a lot already tonight about you changing the attitude with the Tigers. How do you sense your team is coming into this series after the way you finished the regular year?
Well, I think we're fine. I kept reminding that the Yankees, you know, the last time the Yankees won the World Series, they lost their last 16 out of 19. So I don't really believe in that stuff. We're ready to play. It's just a matter of we good enough or not.
Jim, thanks for your time.
Okay.
During our interview, you saw Jason Giambi hit by a pitch for the 2nd time tonight. And not to say it's intentional, but it certainly got Giambi's attention.
Certainly not intentional. A 2-run ball game with Alex Rodriguez coming up.
1 on, 1 out. Rodriguez has lined out and singled. On the outside corner, strike 1. Mentioned earlier, 31 years old, 464 career home runs, and he just finished off His 9th consecutive season of 30 or more homers, 100 or more RBIs, and 100 or more runs.
Dangerous at bat right here. I was going to follow that, Joe, by saying if he gets a ball to hit, that pitch outside. But if he chooses a ball in the strike zone, Rodriguez is locked in with his first 2 at bats. Line drive to second base, line drive to left field for a base hit. Even though he's 1 for 2, he's had 2 good at bats thus far.
Pretty good pitch, and Robertson does not get the call. Ball 1. Giambi at first, 1 out, a 2-run Yankee lead, bottom of the 5th. That's on the inside corner, and Rodriguez is surprised to learn that he has struck out. The delayed call by Tim McClellan. Rodriguez thought it was being called a ball, and then when McClellan rung him up, there's the reaction.
Yeah, once again, it wasn't necessarily the pitch, but how it was called. That delayed, that's his style. He's been doing it forever. He's the crew chief, and he decides how he's going to call balls and strikes, and that's quite evident.
That is the first strikeout of the night for Nate Robertson. Gets him past Rodriguez. Now he deals with Matsui, who wheels on a pitch and fouls it. This guy has developed into one of the more clutch hitters over the last 4 or 5 years for the Yankees. Joe Torre couldn't wait to get his bat back in the lineup after the broken wrist he suffered in May.
A man who is a megastar in Japan. Godzilla, his nickname over there. Hit 50 home runs the year before he came to the Yankees. Talk about a star in 2 cities, Tokyo and New York. That's big.
He came in as a .500 career postseason hitter against left-handed pitching. Which is remarkable for a left-handed batter. That's fouled out of play off to the left. With a minimum of 25 at bats, that is the best postseason average against left-handed pitching. And this game is obviously being broadcast back in Japan, as it is in Taiwan. Tonight's starter, Wang. There's the clutch part of his resume. Giambi takes off. The pitch is down and in. 2-2. They didn't pay any attention to Giambi. Casey wasn't even holding him on, and so Jason took second.
He was too far back. If you play behind the runner, you want to play right behind the runner. A lot of times a first base coach can help you. If Tony Pena says he's back, he's back, he's back, then Giambi takes off, and that's what happened.
Matsui reaching for it. Robertson has time and gets the out. Due up second for the Tigers in the 6th. Ivan Rodriguez. 5-3. New York out in front. The Division Series on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure. This is Budweiser. This is beer. Just a beautiful night in New York. And a good game. 5, 6, and 7 hitters for Detroit. 5-3. The Yankees on top. That means Guillen, Rodriguez, and Monroe.
Bright, clean, crisp, clear. That's what Wang was before that last half inning, where the Tigers scored 3 runs right back in this game.
Misses the outside corner, ball 1.
This guy is really a good ball player. He's the only major league player that increased his average from May through September. And like a gathering storm. He's a good ball player.
Venezuela, 31 years old. Went from Houston to Seattle. Got to the big leagues in '98. Was there through 2003. Now Proctor is getting loose as we're in the 6th inning for the Yankees in their pen. One of the few arms that Joe Torre has a ton of trust in as we play here in October. Here's the pitching line. 5+ innings now, 73 pitches, a 2-run lead and a 3-0 count on Guillen. There's a strike and it's 3-1.
That's a pitch you could throw 3-0, but not 3-1. You throw that same pitch, Guillen's going to have a good swing at it. That's an inside strike. Can't do that again to Guillen. Got to stay away.
Rodriguez on deck, and that is on the inside corner. Full count, 95 miles per hour from Wang.
Some analysis, huh? Comes right back in there.
Good stuff. Good stuff by you. Good stuff by Wang. The old sinker on 3-2. Chop to the right side as Wang comes back from a 3-0 count to get Guillen, the 8th groundout of the night. How about more on Chien-Ming Wang? Favorite music is hip hop. Enjoys reading car magazines. Likes to play video games. Doesn't believe in the curse of the John Madden video game. Loves pasta. You know, they're saying there's a curse. It's like the cover of Sports Illustrated. The cover of Madden's video game. Now Sean Alexander has a broken foot. He's on the cover this year.
Is there a curse of car magazines?
I don't know. I do not know, but the Volare had a bad year after they put it on the cover. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 out, nobody on, and a high hard one, 95 miles per hour. Past the bat of Rodriguez, 1-1.
Wang only had 76 strikeouts all year. You don't get many swing throughs against Wang. Most guys make contact like that.
2 hops to Jeter. 2 out. Monday, October 23rd on Fox, Prison Break with an all-new action-packed episode. It's all new 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Monday, October 23rd. Only on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. Critically acclaimed show, and you can catch an all-new one on Monday, the 23rd of October. Here is Monroe, who started the 3-run rally last inning with a home run to center. 28 during the regular season with 2 out, nobody on. There's that good pitch down and into the right-handed batter, strike 1.
Right-handers have seen that pitch a lot from Wang tonight. And when it's there, it's awfully difficult to hit.
Now he tries the outside corner and misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. 81 pitches on the night.
We were talking about Craig's mom, whose name is Marilyn, earlier after the home run he hit. Of course, Marilyn Monroe married to the Yankee Clipper for about 9 months in 1953. Joe DiMaggio, famous couple, honeymooning in Japan at the time.
You want to finish?
And Marilyn went to Korea and came back, and she said, "Joe, you have never heard applause like that." And he said, "Yes, I have."
Here at Yankee Stadium. It's 5-3 as we flash forward to 2006. Robertson to work the bottom of the 6th inning. Done a nice job, as it turns out. Had the 5-run third. He settled back in, and he deals with Posada, the number 8 hitter. First up, batting right-handed, takes a strike. Action again for the Tigers out in their bullpen, as there was back in the 3rd. And Grilly was getting loose. Grilly again with the left-hander Walker. To third for Inge. 1 out. Now, Ken Rosenthal has been with us all year long, and he is with us here in the postseason down past the Yankee dugout. Ken, let's talk first about Randy Johnson. I know you talked to Randy before tonight's game. How's he feeling?
He says, Joe, that he is cautiously optimistic. Optimistic because he's doing what he needs to do without restriction. Cautious because he's yet to pitch in a game, yet to really let it go. Cautious as well because he doesn't know what tomorrow will bring. As Joe Torre said, he's going to throw again tomorrow on the side. As for Game 3, Johnson said, it seems like it's going to happen.
It seems like, Ken, and here's a little weak comebacker. Past Robertson, Inge bails out Nate Robertson, 2 out. It seems like when you hear that, and then you talk to Joe Torre, and you read the quotes by Torre, and you read the quotes by Randy Johnson, it seems like they have different ideas headed toward that Game 3. They seem more excited than Randy Johnson is.
I think he is just kind of being reserved here, and I don't think he wants to get ahead of himself. Obviously, he's aware of what happened to Pedro, what happened to Orlando Hernandez, and he knows how old he is, and he knows that the body can go. He's got a herniated disc. It's pretty hard to pitch with one of those.
43-year-old left-hander will get the ball in Game 3. Meanwhile, how concerned are they, or how cautious will they be with the tender elbow of Mariano Rivera this postseason?
Joe, they're concerned enough that Joe Torre says they're going to limit Rivera to 1 inning. They don't want him to sit down and have to get loose all over again. Now, using him for only 3 outs represents a huge departure from what they've done in the past. 27 of his 34 career postseason saves, 27 of 34 have been more than 1 inning.
Count 0-1, and there's another foul, and it brings up something we talked about earlier up here in the booth. The guys setting up Rivera are not like they were back earlier in 2000, 2001, and after that.
That's the difference, Joe, and we're so used to seeing Mariano Rivera in the 8th inning in the postseason, and now we're going to see guys like Ron Vallone and Scott Proctor and Kyle Farnsworth. Each of them has questions surrounding him. Proctor's pitched more innings than any reliever in the major leagues. Vallone had a horrible August and September. Farnsworth's back locked up a few times recently. We're going to see how this all shakes out for the Yankees.
See any stars down there?
I don't see any stars, but I am here with some of New York's finest, Joe.
Well, yeah, those are the real stars. But I mean, the people who are here fending off the paparazzi and trying to watch a game without getting autographs handed in front of them, and people to hand them things to sign. Nobody down there?
Not down where I'm sitting, Joe.
Well, there's Denzel. I mean, he's just over to your left. See if you can get an autograph.
All right, I'll try.
All right. With 2 out and nobody on, Damon just sticks the bat out and dumps it into left field. What a good piece of hitting by Johnny Damon, and the 6th inning continues.
I talked to Johnny before the game, and I said, you are so unconventional, so unorthodox. If you're going poorly, what does Don Mattingly say? How does he know it? He said the only thing he tells me is to keep the bat back. His bat wasn't back there. That's one of the most unorthodox, good styles of hitting in the game. Looks bad, feels good.
Did you have any concerns with Damon leaving Boston and coming here to the glare of New York City and playing for the Yankees?
Nah, I don't think anybody did, really. Obviously, the regret was in Beantown.
His replacement, Coco Crisp, got hurt right out of the gate and never really put a good season together. They missed Johnny Damon. And Johnny had a good year. He hit 285, 24 home runs. Much more production out of center field this year for New York than they had last year. That's another hit for Jeter. He's 4 for 4. Damon will scoot over to third, and Jeter is in with another double.
Man loves October. Robertson tries to come inside to Jeter. Good base running by Johnny Damon. Taking third base, drawing the throw in the process, allowing Jeter to go to second. Jeter had almost stopped at first, but he saw the throw going toward third, and he took off again.
It is a double officially, so 2 doubles, 2 singles. And 10 times in the postseason he's had 3 hits or more in a game. He is 4 for 4. And now Abreu could open it back up for New York. Second and third, 2 down. Bobby Abreu hits to the right side. Polanco can't get it. May have hurt that shoulder again. 2-run score. And it's 7-3.
Once again, Polanco separating that shoulder on August 18th in Boston, and he lands on the shoulder. Grimacing. Not only did he land on it, but perhaps that separated shoulder in the process of healing doesn't allow him to stretch for a ball like that. The Yankees played 2 more and now lead by 4 again.
Abreu with a big first night in the postseason in a Yankee uniform. 2 hits, 4 RBIs. And the Yankees lead by 4. Robertson out. No. Here's a throw over to first, and it gets away from Casey and up into the seats.
See how that scored. This ball's on top of Sean Casey in a hurry. Ball that could have been caught, but a high throw nonetheless. Sean can't come up with it, and Abreu goes to second. An error on the play. Error on the pitcher on the throw.
So Grilli takes over. Runner at second now, 2 out, and Sheffield takes a ball down and away. Sheffield tonight 1 for 3 with an RBI single and a run scored back in the third. And the top 4 hitters have done the damage tonight. Robertson was so close to getting out of that jam with second and third, got the ground ball, but out of the reach of Polanco to make it 7-3. Now Grilli serves up the pitch, and Sheffield grounds to Guillen. We go into the 7th. 7-3 is the score of the Yankees here in Game 1 of the division series. Back after this from your local. First pitch of the 7th inning is swung on and missed by Timms. 7, 8, 9 hitters for Detroit as Wang has pushed this game into the 7th. That's on the outside corner, 0-2. The signs make more sense when you realize he pronounces his last name Wang. Wang is right.
Wang is right.
And now the sign makes sense.
Yeah.
One ball, 2 strikes. Good pitch down and in, struck him out, and that's strikeout number 4 for Chien-Ming Wang. Oh, Tommy.
Watch the postseason on Fox. I live for this. You live for this. The whole world lives for this.
I love that. I love that whole ad campaign.
I do too. I'm glad we're all living for this.
A preview of Thursday night. Didn't even get to see it. The Dodgers and the Mets. What did it say? What did it say? The Dodgers come into this postseason hot. Their last postseason series win, they can't wait to stop hearing about 1988. They went through the 90s without one.
The reason I illustrated that last point, Hong-Chi Kuo is also from Taiwan, as Mike Myers, the left-hander, is now warming. Not only is he also from Taiwan, he's from the same hometown as Chien-Ming Wang.
1 ball, 1 strike on Inge. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Kuo is the probable starter for the Dodgers. How about that? Both of them from Tainan City in Taiwan. Pitching in New York. Wang starting for the Yankees. And Kuo in game 2, the probable starter for the Dodgers. How great is that?
1 ball, 2 strikes. Inge just gets a piece of it. And that's the scouts section. There's Mike Jorgensen there. Mike Squires, a couple of representatives from the Cardinals. They get great seats. Right behind home plate, charting these pitches and watching a 1-2 delivery. 2-2. That's where they are. I mean, that's like Trump seats. That's Denzel Washington seats.
Yeah, that's where they see the action on that sinker from Wang.
2-2 pitch. Inge hits it to the right of Cano. Just glides over to get it. 2 out. And with the bases empty, back to the top of the order, and Granderson, as Chien-Ming Wang is trying to get through 7 strong innings. Pitch count 93, so it's conceivable he could get through another inning until we look down and see that Joe Torre is going to go to his left-hander. We saw Myers getting loose, and the crowd's a little uneasy seeing the pitching change coming here with Wang rolling. He has retired 6 straight, but he's gone, and he pitched well. Standing ovation here at Yankee Stadium for the 26-year-old right-hander. Tipped his cap. Got 2 outs in the 7th. Congratulations from Ron Guidry. Messina next to greet him, and now it's Mike Myers.
cheering on both sides of the world for Wang tonight and tomorrow morning.
Granderson is at the plate with 2 out, nobody on. Curtis 1 for 3. Myers is about as submarine style as you can find. And he misses with ball 1 that just floats up and away. Polanco on deck. Granderson misses it, trying to drop one down. 1-1.
Mike, a knuckle scraper. He gets down so low. You can see that foot coming off the rubber. He is tough to hang in there against.
It's up to Granderson to keep this 7th inning alive. 66 miles per hour. It's 1-2. 7-3. The Yankees lead here in the top of the 7th.
You call that first pitch a floater? Here's a 66-mile-an-hour floater again.
That was regular speed right there. Breaking ball misses down and in. 2-2. Just got a piece to stay alive. On deck is Polanco, and then the left-handed hitting Casey. Watching from the Yankee bullpen, watching from the Tiger dugout. 2-2 pitch is hit high and deep to right field at the wall. It's gone. Granderson goes deep. He hit 19 during the regular season, and it's 7-4.
We talked about that floater, a pitch that it's tough for a left-hander to stay in against. Well, Myers got that one up. And Granderson took care of the rest. Talk about locked into a pitch. Good swing, good result. Here's Joe Torre again.
So after pounding that ball into right, Myers is gone. The crowd gets on him. They didn't want to see Wang leave. Myers is out. Joe Torre goes back to his bullpen. Placido Polanco will be the hitter with 2 outs, nobody on, a run home, and our Pepsi double play is the double play he hit into back in the 3rd inning. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Nicely turned by Jeter and Cano, and even Sheffield on the back end. That kept it scoreless, and the Yankees went off in the bottom of the inning with a 5-run 3rd, capped on a 2-run home run by Giambi. Here's Scott Proctor.
Led the American League in games, 83 games on the year, 83 appearances for the hard-throwing right-hander.
I think the question will be asked, and I know it's bouncing around in the minds of Yankee fans. Why did Joe Torre take Chien-Ming Wang out with 2 out, nobody on, having retired 6 straight? Pitch count was 93, not off the charts. Now another base hit. Myers gives up the home run. Now Proctor gives up the hit to Polanco, so good to see that his left shoulder's okay. And with that, Sean Casey gets to bat against the right-hander Proctor.
I think that was a surprise that Wang had only thrown 93 pitches. If he's up to 110, then you can certainly understand it a lot more. But Myers comes in, hangs a breaking ball, and Granderson pops it, and now Polanco's on it first with 2 outs. You can tell that left shoulder is hurting him. No way to get him out of a game like this. Now you have Sean Casey to bat it.
Again, and Joe Torre, in talking to us, said that he reserves the right to change his mind if the Yankees get as far as the World Series. But again, Mariano Rivera is not available for more than one inning in the early going here in the postseason after suffering through a tender elbow late in the year.
I think the early going is properly stated, because if he shows he's all right, if the Yankees do get into the second round, then, but only then, will Torre allow himself to think about using Rivera in the 8th inning.
It's a 3-run game. A home run by Granderson has made it 7-4, and the last two haven't been close from Proctor. And you're looking at a guy who was solid during the year. There were stretches where he was almost unhittable, but not a guy that has been under the October spotlight in setting up and getting the game to Mariano Rivera. So Proctor has made these Yankee fans a little nervous here. With Casey at the plate, a runner on, and Polanco, who is singled, and the dangerous Maglio Ordonez on deck. The 2-0. 2-1. 96 from Proctor.
Sean Casey trying to pop one here. 100. Yeah, if Casey could fight his way on, then you have Ordonez representing the potential tying run. A guy with 24 home runs and 104 RBIs on the year.
Foul back, and the count evens at 2-2. Proctor's a 29-year-old who had his best season in the big leagues this year. But coming into this postseason, he has a grand total of 2 postseason games. One on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a fly ball into right field is a hit. That sends Polanco over to third. Casey keeps the inning alive for Maglio Ordonez.
Joe, to bring it up again, you talked about it 3 innings ago. The soft underbelly of the New York Yankees is their middle relief, and it is showing up here in the 7th inning. This is the one situation you do not want if you're a Yankee fan, to have Maglio Ordonez with great power the other way, great power to center or left. He can hit it out in any part of the ballpark.
He's doubled, he's flied to right, he has struck out. He has 18 career home runs against the Yankees, and he represents the tying run at the plate here in the 7th. And a pop-up behind the plate, out of play. Strike 1.
Proctor got away with one there. A high slider. The slider right up around the letters to Ordonez.
Maglio gets under it, flies it into right center field. Damon calls for it and takes it. And after some anxious moments, only 1 run scores for the Tigers against the Yankee bullpen. A home run by Granderson. It is 7-4. And time now for our old friend Ronan Tynan to sing God Bless America. It's on his new album, The Dawning of the Day. The Division Series on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure. This is Budweiser. This is beer. By new Gillette Fusion, the best shave ever in manual and battery power. And by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world. This game moves into the bottom of the 7th inning. Jamie Walker, the left-hander, takes over after Grilli got Sheffield to end the 6th inning. First up, Giambi, and he takes the ball high. Walker, one of 2 left-handers that Jim Leyland has to use out of his bullpen. The other is Will Ledesma. Kyle Farnsworth, a hard-throwing right-hander, is getting loose for the Yankees. On the inside corner, a ball and a strike on Giambi.
That's why Joe Torre did not sandwich his left-handers tonight. In the lineup, it's left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left.
A little high, 2-1.
Whereas if you have 2 left-handers or 3 left-handers hitting right behind one another, you bring in a left-hander in the middle innings, and you don't have to deal with Alex Rodriguez. But with left, right, left, it makes it a lot more difficult for a manager to manage against a lineup like the Yankees are throwing out there tonight.
Talked about Abreu being selective. Giambi is in the same category. For a slugger, he is not a free and wild swinger. As the count is favor now, 3-1. And he takes strike 2. Full count. Infield is pulled over to the right. Matsui to up 3rd in this inning. That misses down and away. Close, but ball 4 and a leadoff walk. And now Rodriguez will bat. Alex has lined out, singled, and struck out. A reminder of the numbers that Rodriguez put together during the regular season.
Once again, this is what makes it hard, because in order to get to another left-hander, you have to go through Rodriguez with a left-handed pitcher.
That is off to the right and out of play. Strike 1.
Okay, Joe, after all is said and done, it is remarkable that Detroit is here playing the Yankees as opposed to hosting the Oakland Athletics. And going into the last weekend of the season, they faced the Kansas City Royals, a team against whom they were 14-1, and they were swept by the Royals.
Part of them has to be shocked to be here.
Yeah, that's right.
They packed before their game on Sunday. They showed up to the park thinking, well, all we need is a win today. They needed a win Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. They didn't get it. They had a 6-0 lead on Sunday and blew that. And that's what made them the wild card and a road team here in New York in round 1. Good changeup from Walker. It's 1-2. They're the 3rd team in baseball history to enter the postseason with 5 or more games on a losing streak. The '87 Twins, the 2000 Yankees, and both were World Series winners. Here's a line drive to right. It just carries all the way to Ordonez. 1 out. 1 on, 1 out for Matsui.
That '87 Twins team, by the way, that ended the season with a 5-game losing streak, beat the Detroit Tigers the last time the Tigers were in postseason, winning the best 4 out of 7 in 5 games as Rivera continues to look toward the 9th inning.
He's got his routine, and there's Matsui hitting it foul. We talked about it before. Even more against left-handed pitching. Matsui has a unique way. It's almost like he leans back out of the way, and the bat comes through the zone lightning quick, and he was a little too quick on that pitch.
And he's a sweep hitter, and on balls that are up, he sweeps the hand. There's not a lot of wrist. There's a lot of upper body in that swing. Very powerful, very strong. It's almost like he swings differently against left-handed pitching.
Good pitch for strike 2.
Certainly a better low ball hitter than he is a high ball hitter. And I think it's interesting to note that you don't have to have as quick a hands when you hit the ball down. Just drop the bat head on it. You hit the ball upstairs around the letters. You have to extend the bat head. You have to be quicker.
You see those numbers. He goes on the disabled list May 11th. He comes back on September 12th, and he goes 4 for 4. Posada next. That is down the left side and out of play.
He went up there looking for a pitch to jerk, yanked it foul, and now he's in more of a defensive mode with 2 strikes. And when that's the case, he has more of an inclination to go to left field. Talk about Abreu hitting the ball the other way with 2 strikes. Matsui even more so.
Rodriguez sets up outside to throw over to first. Robertson started, went 5 2/3, allowed 7 runs on 12 hits. Struck out 1, hit 2 batters. They hit Giambi twice. To the second baseman, Polanco. He in the middle, safe at first. 2 out. Coming up to 11 o'clock in the East, and it's our Nissan game summary. Abreu, one of the left-handed batters against Robertson. 2 hits and 4 RBIs. Most RBIs in a Yankee postseason debut. Continuing on what he had done during the regular season after he was traded here from Philadelphia. 1 through 3 hitters for the Tigers have done well, including a home run, 6 for 12. And the Yankees put together a 5-run 3rd inning. Something they did a lot of during the regular season. Posada after that high delivery, strike 1. Into center field, a base hit. Posada. Going first to third is Matsui. The throw there is too late. And with 2 out, the Yankees have runners at the corners.
Posada line drive the other way. It looked like Walker thought that ball was coming back through the box. He almost gave a feint there, like the line drive was lower. Of course, the pitcher ends up about 50 feet from home plate. Matsui safe at third, and every time you try that, you better be safe. You don't want to make the first or third out at third base.
You could hear Boa pleading with Matsui to dig, and you could hear the third base umpire Paul Emmel call him safe. And now with runners at the corners, here's Cano. 0 for 3 tonight. Batting in the number 9 spot. Missed 35 games with a hamstring strain, and then came back, played 53 games, and led baseball in hits and RBIs from that moment on. Came off the DL on August 8th and hit .365. Walker made him look bad with that pitch. It's 0-2. Here are the numbers. He came back from the DL August 8th. 53 games, hit 11 home runs, and drove home 51. Great production out of the second base position in the number 9 spot in the order. The 0-2. Ball 1.
Posada hit that line drive back through the middle. Watch Jamie Walker. He thought that ball was a little lower than it actually was.
And off he went to cover third. back up. Late tag applied by Ing. Matsui was safe. Here's a fly ball into right. Jammed a bit was Cano, and Ordonez hauls it in. We go to the 8th. The Tigers will bat, hanging in it, down by 3. Andy Phillips takes over at first base, so Gary Sheffield at first base, learning the position down the stretch, and now in the postseason he is out. Phillips takes over, and so does Kyle Farnsworth on the mound for Proctor. Wang, then Myers, then Proctor, now Farnsworth, who did not have a good postseason last year while pitching for Atlanta. He's got electric stuff, a great fastball. But he has bounced around, in fact spent a year with the Tigers. And here is another guy on that list of pitchers that Joe Torre has to find out about here in October, trying to get the game to Rivera. The 1-0. 2-0.
Yeah, it's a different problem for Farnsworth than it is for Proctor. Proctor throws strikes, but some of his strikes are too fine. Farnsworth doesn't throw enough strikes when he's in a position where he has to throw strikes. Don't worry about the long ball right here. You've got a 3-run lead, and if you're Guillen, you got to take this pitch.
He does, and it's low. 3-0. Farnsworth came up with the Cubs. Was with them from '99 in the big leagues through '04. Last year started the year in Detroit. They got rid of him to Atlanta. And he misses a 4-pitch walk to start the 8th. They are groaning at Yankee Stadium, and Fox NFL Sunday returns this Sunday with a doubleheader as the Redskins take on the Giants, a big game in the NFC East. And then it's Terrell Owens and the Dallas Cowboys to Philadelphia. Cowboys and Eagles plus other regional action. It starts with Fox NFL Sunday live from Philadelphia at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. Here is Rodriguez.
I can tell you the talk in the dugout right now with the Tigers trailing by 3. Give this guy a chance to get wild. And that's
exactly with the first 5.
Excuse me, Joe. That's exactly what he's doing. Don't help him out. Those are staple phrases through the years in baseball. They know the history of Farnsworth. I mean, after all, he was with the Tigers, as you said. 5 straight balls, and the Yankees have a 3-run lead. That's the thing that gets you if you're a Yankee fan. Not necessarily walking the first hitter, but with the 3-run lead, why not find the strike zone?
Rodriguez looks like he's going to take. He does. Farnsworth doesn't get the call, and it's 2-0.
And the pressure's mounting.
The question with Kyle Farnsworth has never been pitching stuff, but it's been his ability in tight games to throw quality strikes, and he has found the strike zone to make it 2-1. Bullpen tonight for Joe Torre, and he went to it early in the 7th inning with Wang having retired 6 straight. Been ineffective to this point. 2-1 pitch. Ripped in the air to left field, but he didn't get it all. Down toward the end of the bat and caught by Matsui. 1 on, 1 out. Full swing, but Rodriguez just missed getting all of it.
Set off the end of the bat. The pitch was tailing back, and Rodriguez just a little too quick. Gets it down off the sweet part for a relatively easy out, and Pudge knew he missed it.
So 1 on, 1 out. And here's Craig Monroe, who's homered tonight. A leadoff homer back in the 5th inning. Yankees jumped out on top 5-0 in the third. Detroit got 3 in the fifth. The Yankees 2 more in the sixth. And the Tigers a run in the seventh. Crowd out beyond the left center field wall is cheering, and Rivera is kind of starting to move into position. But again, according to Joe Torre, early in the postseason, now Rivera sits down and smiles. I think he knows just him moving around out there gets them all juiced up in the seats.
Yeah, the crowd went for the head fake.
This is going to be a postseason where it is 9th inning only, or 1 inning only for Rivera here at the start. 1 ball, 1 strike on Monroe.
Hey, that is a pitch that is often called a ball in this day and age. That pitch right at the well of the knee. Close pitch.
2-1.
First breaking ball thrown by Farnsworth. But so uncomfortable out there, falling behind after walking the first hitter. And he's not the only one that's uncomfortable in this ballpark.
Two balls and a strike. Farnsworth gets it by the bat of Monroe. 2-2.
Monroe threw the fastball.
Got him. 2 down.
And the slider, a strike from McClellan. Monroe thought it was high. There's a guy imitating an umpire. How about that? See that too often.
1 on, 2 out. Look like Buck Henry. Timms now, the former Yankee, takes a pitch down and away.
Like Buck Henry is Uncle Roy on those old SNL skits.
There are the games from earlier in the day with Oakland winning behind Zito and the Cardinals winning behind Carpenter. Frank Thomas 2 home runs for the A's, a big day. Albert Pujols went deep for St. Louis with 2 out. Outside 2-0.
Those home runs by Frank Thomas this afternoon, by the way, the longest in duration in postseason history. He hadn't homered in 13 years in the postseason, and he hit 2 today at the Metrodome in Minnesota. What a day for Thomas.
The second one, the difference in a 3-2 win.
All right.
Here's a 2-0. 3-0. On deck is Inge, and if the Tigers can get him to the plate, they'll have in there a guy who hit 27 home runs during the regular season. Santana suffers his first home loss since August 1st of last year against Oakland. There's a strike, 3-1. Guillen on at first. He led off with a walk. Rodriguez flied out. Monroe struck out. Full count now on Tim. They're going to play behind the runner. Guillen at first. And here in the top of the 8th inning with the Yankees leading 7-4. Farnsworth trying to plow through this 8th inning. Runner goes, and a foul out of play. at this for about 3 hours. Runner goes again. 3-2 pitch is hammered, foul. That kid wanted no part of that.
Nope, I don't blame him.
Neither did Gene Lamont, the third base coach. Runner goes again. 3-2 pitch is popped up. Out behind second, and Jeter is there to end the inning. Farnsworth walks the leadoff man, gets through the top of the 8th. 7-4, the Yankees out in front as we go to the bottom of the 8th here in Game 1. The Division Series on Fox is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Subway, eat fresh. By Dockers, San Francisco. And by GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade. Walker back to work, top of the order for New York, and a strike is into Johnny Damon, and that's a welcome sight for Yankee fans to see Rivera getting loose out in the Yankee pen. 7-4, New York on top. They have led from the 3rd inning on. Count evens 1-1 on Damon. 2 for 4 tonight in his Yankee postseason debut. A pair of singles, a pair of runs scored. Strike 2. The odds are very much against any team beating the Yankees with this lineup in the postseason, scoring only 4 runs. Tigers had Wong on the ropes a bit with back-to-back doubles in the 5th. It was a 2-run game at the time, and Wong settled in and struck out Ordonez for a big out. And blew through the 6th and into the 7th. The bullpen has been a little shaky, but Torre can breathe easier now that he has Rivera getting loose. 2-2 pitch to Johnny Damon.
I think all you have to do is look at this lineup and realize that your pitchers, all you want from them is enough. You don't need performances that are off the chart, Koufaxian or Gibsonian in postseason.
Good bat by Damon. Well, that's good news because the Yankees right now don't have anybody that fits into that category.
No, that's right. Nor do any teams.
Another 2-2 pitch. Damon takes strike 3. And with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th, let's check in with Jeannie Zalasko. Should be a fun series. You've got the Mets who ran away with the NL East. Lost 7 of 9 after clinching early on in September against the Dodger team that is riding a wave into the postseason. Derek Jeter got a standing ovation from some in the crowd tonight. They realize he has put together a 4-for-4 night. A 1-0 from Walker.
And the crowd chanting MVP, MVP, and believe me, folks, it's falling on deaf ears because the MVP has already been voted on. Does not include the postseason.
Well, he hasn't won it.
No.
And I think this year he is the most deserving. The 1-1 pitch with one out, nobody on, and there's a shot into center field. Back at the wall. What a night. 5 for 5. Oh.
What a week.
Jeter almost looking like he's fighting back a smile in that dugout after putting together a 5 for 5 night and capping his evening with the Yankees' second home run in this game 1.
10 stolen total bases, I beg your pardon. 10 total bases on the evening.
Abreu grounds out. The 11th straight postseason, and he has been doing this. Torre has taken this team to the postseason 11 straight years, starting in '96. Kicking it off with a world championship over Atlanta.
They broke in with the Yankees together. Torre and Jeter, their first years, '96. Jeter, the Rookie of the Year. Torre leading the Yankees to a World Series victory against Atlanta in 6 games. After losing the first 2, they won the next 4. And that was the start of it all.
And Jim Leyland's Marlins won in '97. In '98, '99, 2000, it was the Yankees' turn again as Phillips in his first at bat pulls that one foul, and now he's back to the plate with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Yankees lost in '01 in that 7-game series to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And it was the wild cards turn to rise with the '02 Angels, the '03 Marlins, the '04 Red Sox, and last year the White Sox. Jeter has been the constant. 2-2. Jack Minor getting loose for Detroit in their pen. Phillips pops it into center field. Granderson back. A step onto the track. That ends the inning. Game 1 goes into the 9th. And the good times have been rolling tonight for Jeter with his 5-hit performance. Capped on a home run in the 8th. It's 8-4 New York.
It seemed this year when the elbow started developing, you really noticed it more when you had to go back out there that second inning. So I don't think we're going to push the envelope.
Here is the regular season for Mariano Rivera, what he's done in the postseason. After setting up John Wetland back in '96, taking over He has 413 career saves. And by the way, now the top man on that list is Trevor Hoffman of the San Diego Padres, passing Lee Smith at the end of the season. 34 career postseason saves for Rivera. And a World Series MVP back in '99.
Joe, until talking to Joe Torre yesterday, I didn't realize where on the arm Rivera's injury was. It's not on the side. It's not on either side of the elbow. It's in the middle of the forearm. Normally, when a pitcher like Rivera, he'd have pain here, pain here. This is in the middle of the forearm. So that's where the pain comes. It may have started out on either point, but right now it's in the middle of the forearm, and that's what he's been battling for the last month or so.
Missed 3 weeks. They put him on the shelf. They had the luxury, without really being in a tight race for the AL East, they could take their time. He had 4 scoreless games after coming back. And if that pain is out of there, you've got a guy who is a year older, but is probably better rested coming into this postseason than he has been the last couple of years.
One of the most staggering numbers in the history of the game. .81 earned run average.
Count's gone full. Got Inge at the plate right now, and then back to the top of the lineup. Granderson, who's homered tonight, and Polanco. It's a 4-run game. Casey due up 4th. It gets that far here in the 9th inning. Inge trying to get it going. Steady pops it up. Phillips. Away. During the regular season here at Yankee Stadium, they set a team record and an American League record with their total attendance of 4.2+ million fans coming through the turnstiles, and with the Mets 3.3 million. And for Major League Baseball, an all-time record for attendance across all teams. 76 million plus fans coming through the gates to watch this game. There's a pitch inside to Granderson, ball 1.
And once again, in this city, a city of 8.1 million people, the Yankees and the Mets drawing over 7.5 million people, almost matching the population.
There's a strike to Granderson. Brian Cashman putting this team together, and really, I thought, showed a lot of patience early on in the year after the team lost Matsui and Sheffield, where they did not mortgage the future and rush out to try and make some deal. They stuck with the kids. Granderson gets on with a 1-out hit. Guys like Melky Cabrera and others, including the veteran Bernie Williams, stepped up and did a nice job. Here is Polanco. The Tigers need 2 more base runners to have a chance. Polanco is 2 for his last 2 with an RBI double, a run scored, and a single. And after the hit by Granderson, who's had a nice night, 3 hits, 2 singles, and a home run, here is Polanco with Casey on deck. Polanco spins out of there, ball 1. Almost got a piece of Polanco, which would have made this really interesting, with Casey 2 hits tonight on deck, and then their big bopper of Ordonez waiting in the wings. 1 ball, 1 strike. 8-4, top of the 9th inning, 1 on, 1 out, and a 1-1 pitch. Cano, Jeter. Game 1 belongs to New York. A final of 8-4. They never trailed. They got 5 in the 3rd, put up 8 runs on 14 hits, hit 2 home runs. They're led by Jeter's 5-hit night. 3-hour, 14-minute game. And our Chevrolet player of the game is Derek Jeter. And in recognition of his outstanding night, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, Chevy, an American Revolution. Our game produced tonight by Pete Macheska and directed by Bill Webb. Associate directors Aaron Stoikov and our broadcast associate Kevin Dresser. As always, our thanks to Steve Horn assisting us up here in the booth. We'll continue here at Yankee Stadium and throw it down to Ken Rosenthal with Derek Jeter.
Derek, you're the all-time postseason hit leader, 5 for 5 tonight. How locked in did you feel out there?
I mean, it's just one of those days, you know, it doesn't happen too often, postseason or regular season. I thought everyone played well. We swung the bats well. Wang did another great job for us, and our bullpen came in. So it was an overall good game for us.
You heard the crowd chanting your name. You heard the MVP chants. How much thought have you given to the possibility of winning your first MVP?
I'm not thinking about that. You know, we're trying to win a championship. You know, personal accolades is no one's goal on our team right now. You know, we need to come out here and play well tomorrow night.
All right, thank you, Derek. Joe, back to you.
All right, I actually believe him when he says I'm not thinking about that.
I do too. Been consistent with it all along.
They have game 2 tomorrow night. Verlander pitching for Detroit, the potential AL Rookie of the Year, a 17-game winner against Mike Mussina, who went 15-7. Our coverage will continue after a break. Jeannie Zelasco and Kevin Kennedy in the Fox Network Center. This big offense went to work. 8 runs, 14 hits behind Chien-Ming Wang. The Yankees win game 1, 8-4. The studio coming up after this break. So long from Yankee Stadium.
If you don't like my